moments. Both players bowing before one another in the warm-up. As we get started, we're looking through the eyes of maxter. Got himself a heavy and immediately throwing out that spit. Somehow avoids virtually all the damage that was thrown out there by rapha, but rapha escapes, only taking a few ticks of the acid himself right out of that teleporter. maxter with a great rail, going to follow up with more rockets, a second rocket, another rail, and rapha already back up against the wall. Goes to the rail, a little bit of machine gun to clean it up, and maxter takes the first frag.
First frag and the dress sense on this man. Can we talk about it? It's just absolutely glorious here as he does take the one frag lead. Right on time for the Mega as well, and a bit of a rough start from rapha. But again, it's at this point, it's not even something you worry about. We've seen him come back from the depths of hell on this map. So still early days wheat, but maxter with a strong start has the spit, making his way back to the heavy, taking a little bit of float damage from the LG. There's the spit to make sure that rapha takes as much damage as possible. There's the bull rush to at least get out of there, but actually, unfortunately for him, it stops at the very end, and that'll be a full 90 damage rail. Oh, and the follow-up, too. This could be a frag, and look at that. Cool, calm, and collected. As mentioned before, maxter lines it up and hits another rail to take the frag lead to 2.
I mean, another rail for that 83%. 6 shots fired, and 5 of those things have hit. And rapha's definitely got to be feeling that. Down by 2, looking for an opportunity. Did manage to get a bull rush there and pop his opponent into the corner, but unfortunately, maxter still coming out on top. He had enough to just lay down the shotgun, but off the spawn, rapha looking if he can do some damage. Knows his opponent's incredibly low. Is going to need to make his way over to the Mega. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Unreal how low those two players were, and that maxter stayed alive.
And if he would have hit that rail, that would have been absolutely insane. The fact that he's held it to 3-0, stabilized, and able to restack right now is crazy. And again, for those playing the home version, this is rapha's server, if that matters to you in any way. The jump over, taking a little bit of LG damage. Again, deja vu wheat, as maxter will finally take his leave, knowing he's a little bit too weak to try and do any damage on this pass.
Yeah, and this is the part where it's kind of scary here, is maxter very, very low down, and rapha able to chase him down. You know, you'd think that, right, versus scale, it's like, yeah, Sorlag will be okay, but even at that just a little over 100 and a little like 25, 30 armor, not a place you want to be. And rapha knew it. He was able to capitalize on that, putting himself on the board for the first time. 1-3. We're gonna have a fight here over that heavy. rapha going right up the jump pad, not a care in the world, falling down and dropping a rocket on the noggin of maxter from the way down. Suddenly, this is a 1 frag game, and that there shows you the power of this champ, especially the way that rapha wants to play it.
Absolutely. I think you were dead on when you said that rapha, the way he plays really any champ is different from the entire league, it feels like, as maybe in a league of his own here, as he misses with that initial rail as the fight for heavy breaks out here. maxter trying to land some plasma damage, whatever he can, a little bit of rockets, a little bit of spit. The bull rush gets rapha the heavy for essentially free as he makes his way through the banana, and now it's just a matter of where maxter wants to go, and rapha with the read. There's the LG maxter with decent LG, but rapha's going to take that frag.
I mean, that was pretty nice LG from maxter. I thought he was dead, and he was, but he got a lot of damage off on rapha. That kind of didn't allow him to do any sort of conversion off of the spawn, and rapha coming back with 2 very nice rails. maxter is low. We're gonna have a fight over the heavy yet again, but this time maxter kind of stuck in the back. In fact, look at the bull rush right out of the teleporter, and it is going to connect. rapha does take the lead, and although he was down pretty early, he stayed patient and is really starting to apply that pressure now. Looking for that mid-air rocket. Does land a direct. This is the acid ticks away. A direct splash right in the face, but is not stopping rapha. He's going to pick up a little bit of health, and he still has plenty of armor as they get set up for the heavy once again.
Does make it back to the heavy in time, but maxter with 2 great rails. rapha with a reply of his own on the way out. Still decent stack advantage completely in rapha's favor as he makes his way back to the Mega. So even though he sacrificed a Mega, he's right back in control, and that, again, is kind of rapha's way of playing, where he knows when to concede items. He plays the long game. He's always thinking, you know, not to sound cliche, but 5 steps ahead, and now he's starting to tighten his grip, taking away lights. And over this next heavy, if maxter's not careful, he will take the frag and extend to 2.
Yeah, Rapha's doing an amazing job gobbling up all these lights as well. I mean, what are you going to do? Even as a Sorlag with no armor, in fact, he sees it again. There's not much he can do to take that one, but he can immediately go up knowing Maxter has he knew. He was like, well, I picked up this light and this light just spawned. So that means that Maxter doesn't have anything, and he was right and capitalized on it. A huge amount of aggression. Gets a shotgun blast, follows up with the bull rush, and then a quick 180 in the air. And suddenly, what was a lead for Maxter is now turned into a 3-frag lead for Rapha.
Maxter with a fortunate spawn, has LG, can drop down and get that heavy. So it's going to keep it close here as the rail just missing out. Grazing the top of Sorbet's beautiful, beautiful head there as Maxter trying to make his way onto this mega. Could cost him his life as the rocket to rail combo. Big damage there, but Maxter does get the mega, and Rapha actually wants to rotate back. Kind of, again, grab more items. And what a rocket. Was that 100? I think that was a full hundo.
I think so. It was, or very high, 90s at least. I looked away for 1 second, but yeah, that was a huge rocket. And any of those rockets on an exit, you know, he wasn't engaged in a battle for it. He was literally just tossing one across the map. And this chase from Rapha is real scary. Is not given, you know, Maxter, it's kind of like was doing an amazing juggling act. He's in the middle of it. He kind of lost his balance a little bit, and he's just kind of teetering. He's almost found his balance, but Rapha is being a wicked style of gravity on him right now. There's not much that he can do, and you can see that in Maxter's play. I think he's making the right moves, but again, Rapha is kind of just choking him when it comes to armor and items and health, and it's clearly showing. You know, looking at the pickups too, they look a lot closer, but you'll notice Rapha has way more lights, and you know, in the last 3 minutes of this game, that is really where that has come into play, and Rapha's been able to get those frags.
Yeah, double the lights, and it's really a testament to the comfort Rapha has of having the stack to deny the lights from Maxter completely, leaving him weak. If you take a look at the top of your screen, the stack has been just firmly in Rapha's favor for what feels like most of the game now. 3-frag lead, no signs of stopping. There's a little jump pad play, a lot of good LG coming out from Maxter, but again, Rapha has the stack to be able to take that damage and then fall onto a major item like nothing happened.
Yeah, and unfortunately what we're not necessarily seeing from Maxter that we saw really early on was that super hot rail, was just that sick rail that was hitting everything. Maxter very low. He does go down yet again as Rapha's easily able to dispatch him using that machine gun. Now a 4-frag game, and the clock is ticking away, and oh, Maxter gonna go in after this one. The bull rush comes out, the acid ticks, but it won't matter. Mega is there, and Maxter once again is low, and what can he do?
What a cutoff there. Rapha knowing exactly where Maxter needs to be to restack, and he says, no, this is mine, these are mine, that's mine. Really good LG from Maxter, though.
Nice.
And he absolutely melts Rapha as he gets caught out with rockets.
Yeah, that was nice. Good job on Maxter. Unfortunately, Rapha with the nice little rocket bump that knocks him up in the air and is able to get another frag. But I did like that Maxter's able to kind of stand toe-to-toe there. He does get another one, 5-9 now, with a minute and a half left to go. Can Maxter find something deep in the well of Sorlag to try to bring this back? I mean, Bull Rush is going to be up in about another 20 seconds. There's a lot of escape potential here. Rapha's stack is still looking good, so every second would need to be maximized in efficiency in order to tie it up. I think it's going to be pretty tough because Rapha doesn't look like he is letting up. In fact, a mid-level rail down below, 5-10, 1 minute to go.
I was gonna say, will the Magic Man have a little something left? And it looks like it's just too much to overcome as Rapha. 1 minute left until he takes this victory. Maxter trying, he's got to push with the LG, but the bull rush, okay. Rapha doesn't want to risk it and get Olayed off the map, but instead he'll double back and hit a rail before the heavy pickup. Nice play there from Rapha, extending to a 6-frag lead.
I feel like we've been, you know, in a lot of the matches that we've seen from Rapha, we do see this, like, you know, kind of very generic version that comes off right off the spawn. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I mean more as if we see Rapha giving so much respect to his opponents off of the bat and then letting the game develop from that point. And I think that's exactly what we saw here. A lot of respect shown to maxter. Maxter with some amazing rails, really kind of brought it back. And then rapha sort of figures out a plan from that point. He, you know, maps out all the blueprints and then plays the game. And I feel like we see this more and more, right? These first few frags go into his opponent's hands, and then it's like, all right, analysis complete. Let's play. And I feel like that's exactly what we saw in this game as well. 5-13, the final score. But you think about those first 3 minutes, and maxter was looking good. And, you know, it's kind of like, what exactly is rapha doing? That all changed.
You said it perfectly. You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, he kind of uses the first couple minutes to assess the situation. rapha's so good at mid-game adaptation, and then it's a matter of, you know, like Daigo in fighting games. Download complete, and before you know it, you're down 5-6, and you're like, what happened? Like, the momentum was in my favor, and it's, well, rapha assessed the situation, gave you the ocular pat-down, and everything is firmly in his grasp because he knows exactly where you want to be and how you're trying to play.
Well, we still have 2 more maps between these two, and we're going to be moving over to Deep Embrace, a map I said 40 I'm excited for. This has actually been, I don't know what it is about this map, but I feel like it always delivers on action. And if you can have a lot of strategic thinking in the midst of a lot of chaotic action, Deep Embrace is where, you know, it often comes out. The other thing, too, is a little bit newer to the pool in comparison to other maps. So watching the meta and the ways in which this map has been played over the past year has kind of been exciting to watch. So these two, I expect more of the same, as we've seen these players master those perfect jumps and do unique things with the timing on the major items as they're coming up. And we've seen both these players do their opponents dirty. So I hope to see a lot of that chaotic action in this one.
I completely agree. And the maxter is, I would say, the best in the league in terms of getting a good rail off the spawn near the shotgun. So if he gets a frag where he wants it, I guarantee 90 damage coming out right off the spawn for rapha. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's rapha. Maxter's just so good at lining that up and being very efficient and deadly. Looking quickly at the predictions, Wheat, 9% for maxter. It's just, there's no respect. I feel disrespected for maxter, but I feel like Molten Falls, one thing that we saw there that we usually see from maxter but didn't see there on Molten Falls is kind of this not crazy play, but very, you know, in your face, I'm going to kind of shake things up. He played more of a predictable slow game, and if you're trying to do that against rapha, I don't see anybody outplaying rapha at a slow, measured game. And I think maybe what we need to see is a little more crazy, a little more magic from maxter, a little more in your face, a little more, you know, I just want to see more aggression, honestly. And I know we talked about you need to be measured, but maxter, tear it out right now as we're live on map number 2. He's got the scarf, he's got the dire orb, and we'll see if he can take us to a map number 3 for the decider. And it's all gone horribly long so far, but it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, let's just pretend like those first 10 seconds didn't happen. Yes, a missed rocket jump, then decided to go ahead and just make the initial jump. You know, the little bit of anxiety off that spawn as the match gets started, your horse out of the gate, and, you know, oh, I bumped my knee on the gate. It's okay, though. It didn't result in the frag. That would have been a little sad and disappointing to see, and it will be the opponent who will ultimately draw first blood here, although I'm gonna actually take that back. Who knows, right? You could fly off the edge of this map. Anything could happen, but a nice rail coming out by rapha right away. maxter on the mid-level, knows his opponent now, has also picked up that mega, and look at this, 1, 2, 3 rails, make it 4.
Wow.
Because, you know, it's better than a hat trick, and there it goes. And rapha does get a frag right off of the spawn, but what a way to kick this one off.
Explosive rails, and rapha somehow avoids the damage and gets the hell out of there, Wheat. I don't know how, but he is still very weak as maxter will start to take full control, but rapha's just too fast, and the split on the items allows him to get a mega, and maxter not so fortunate to hit a rail on that one. So we're tied at 1, and now the peaker comes out, and that's a good rail for maxter to deal with that, but he needs more of those rails. How much magic does he have left? 1:30 in, he's gonna have to try and keep the rail damage high, as we saw before.
Yeah, we're gonna have, with these two items really close to one another, rapha is gonna scoop in and grab that heavy. I think it's gonna leave an opportunity for maxter to go for the Mega, but no, Rapha lands that rail and pushes maxter back, allowing him to grab that one too. And this is the scary moment here. You know, we talked a little bit about full control from Rapha and controlling the lights as much as he could, and it's exactly what he's doing here. He knows that that light is over underneath in the caverns. He just picked that light up, so right now he knows maxter's so low, he can turn it on. Oh, Dire Orb to try to steal away the heavy, and unfortunately, a few milliseconds off of the timing. 40, you hate to see it. Rapha, though, off of that one little mistake, picking up yet another frag, 2-point game.
Maybe another one here as maxter stuck in a bad way, has to rely on this rail. Good initial shot, good follow-up.
Nice.
Can he finish? Almost. But Rapha takes his leave, but that allows the map to open up a little bit for maxter as he tries to close this one out. There it is. Flick of the wrist, and no big deal, Wheat.
No big deal at all. Off of the spawn, another one. Yes, all right, maxter able to bring this back, tying it up a little bit. I was taking a look at the items 40, and I was going to say, you know, maxter, he just picked up his first Mega, but prior to that, he was only grabbing heavies. He's like, who needs lights? I just want the heavies. Rapha had 9 lights to his name, 5 Megas. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how this will play out as the game continues. Dire Orb up top to grab it. This time maxter does get it, but at what cost? Well, a lot of health and armor. In fact, off of that one, up the jump pad, an easy pickup for Rapha. He pinned maxter into that corner a second time in this game. Off the spawn, another great rocket. Again, Mega's picked up, but so many major items have been negated by the opponent in this matchup, 40.
Yeah, and as much as that didn't work out, I do love the steal there from maxter on the heavy. He's not going to be able to make the jump across, but Rapha actually falls down, and somehow Rocket jumps back up to get it while getting the frag, and just a really good play there from Rapha, knowing that he had the stack to try and pull that off, and he made it happen. Up 2, and now peeker to the face. There's the Dire Orb, though. Is he going to take it? He is. Wants to take this LG battle. maxter really weak. This is not the fight that he wants, but now he's committed fully, and Rapha still has the stack advantage. Going up the jump pad, eating a lot of damage. This should be a frag for Rapha, and with the heavy machine gun, it will be, but great damage from maxter.
Yeah, he heard the screams, and then the heavy is back up. Maxter knew it. Unfortunately, he only had that machine gun at the moment, and middle 50 health pool is picked up. Mega again. I mean, Rapha is literally a stopwatch right now, and it's not great for maxter because he's just being denied. He is a thirsty Quake player for some armor, and Rapha is just not giving it to him at all. You also notice this, keeping that rail out of his hands too. You see him continuously firing that over. He did give up the heavy, but I think Rapha's okay with that. He's like, well, he doesn't have a rail. There's not a whole lot that he's going to be able to do. I still have control and zoning over this map.
And the Mega, but at what cost? As you said before, Rapha will give up items, but you're going to pay the price. Nothing is free in the arena, especially going up against the 3-time champion. 7-3, Rapha. Looking for more, though, as maxter somehow skedaddles his way past those rockets, evading damage for the time being, but with the heavy pickup, Rapha knows that he could take this fight. Finishes with a rail, but it's not enough to kill maxter. Extremely weak now as Rapha trying to tighten his grip on the map, taking away the lights more and more as time passes, and the Mega's going to be absolutely free as maxter just cannot contest.
Yeah, and it's rough because, again, maxter looking up. He's got no armor at all. It's like, you know, yes, heavy's going to be up in 6 seconds, but Rapha can take this fight pretty easy. He is peeker up as well. So, I mean, Dire Orb was up. We saw him try to go for it that way earlier. Didn't really work out in his favor. And making a jump to try to escape away, and Rapha is going to pick up another one, making it 8-3. Once again, being conscious about protecting that rail and trying to deny that away. He will steal that up and look for another moment to attack. But less than 4 minutes left to go, and that grip is getting tighter and tighter, 40.
Oh my goodness, that rocket on the double back. And he's going to leave the heavy up, grab that armor shard, and again, just keep denying these lights, Wheat. He is just taking full map control, making maxter's life a nightmare. Yeah, really is. Take a quick look here once again. 7 heavies for maxter, 2 lights, 4 megas. Over on Rapha's side, 8 megas, 18 lights, and 6 heavies. So you can really see
the areas that are making it tough for maxter. Now, I'd love to see him land a few more of those, sick 4-in-a-row rails, but unfortunately, rapha is always with stack.
Yeah, I mean, even the Magic Man himself can only do so much. Two big rockets missing with the rail. Rapha really wanted that conversion, but he still has an opportunity here as maxter trying to pepper with machine gun, and finally Rapha lands the rail he needs to finish that one off. 11-3 Wheat, and you just can't rely on going 4 for 4. Like, most people don't ever rely on it ever. Maxter can maybe pull it off 1 or 2 times, but not enough to take down Rapha. You got to have more to your game than that, and the more Rapha takes away from you, the harder and harder it becomes. As the peeker chase down, not going to be enough. Maxter left on 50 HP, just trying to stay alive and get the hell out of there. But this looks like a bit of a bloodbath in favor of Rapha.
It definitely has been. I mean, rapha has got just solid movement around the map. He has been taking damn near everything. He did such an incredible job denying those lights in the early game that maxter is feeling like he is unfortunately just being able to be allowed access to any of the scraps that are around. And it was like only because rapha had too big of a stack, he hasn't been able to pick up some of these heavies. And another great rail, and now 8 frags separating these two. And I think really just kind of shows, again, the dominance that rapha is capable of. Maxter has shown us some amazing shots, has definitely had some good moments, but rapha flipped the switch early on this 140 and never turned it off, and I don't think plans to in the next 90 seconds.
And it's one of those, wow, what a great rail there as Rapha down to 35 HP after a health pickup. You can't help but feel like maybe it's also one of those things where, similar to Jordan, where the more people talk about competition and, hey, look out for this guy, Rapha takes that personally. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to make sure that people remember who I am exactly and why I'm in the spot I'm in. So this might be a little bit of that, where he's trying to send a message and, make sure that people recognize, hey, I am kind of the GOAT, so I'm going to go ahead and show you why.
Completely agree. And Slabadanks in chat says, for real, rapha's decision making is like so insanely fast, and it is. And it's even more wild, 40 Lions, is that you can actually see it in his play, right? The way that he switches weapons, when he switches weapons mid fights, the way that he incorporates peeker into it, looking one way, turning the other, and then perfectly meeting up with his opponent. That last frag that we just saw there, right? It's just the insane number of calculations that are going through any of these pros' heads. But rapha does consistently seem to be at a completely different level when it comes to that.
Absolutely agree, as the annihilation won't stop. 10 seconds until we could ring the bell on map number 2, and maxter, this was not the performance that he wanted at all, but it's the performance that we got to watch. 15-3 is going to be the final toll on maxter, as rapha will take the series, but we still have map number 3 to go. As you mentioned before, every map matters. It's money, it's seeding, so we're going to go to Vale, but maxter, he wanted that to be different for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brutal map. When you think about the sort of action that is within a map of Deep Embrace, and then you do combine that with with rapha's decision making. Personally, it just seems like a match made in heaven for rapha. A tough one for any player at all. And although it again may have started looking pretty decent for maxter, the control is what really told the tale on that one. Just so much denial taking place in the light armors, in the rail as well. And why wouldn't you, right? I mean, if some guy rails me 4 times in a row for that frag, I might consider I'm gonna just do what I can to keep that out of his hands. And just some incredible play, 40 Lions.
Completely agree, yeah. I think rapha has a good read on maxter and in general how he likes to play, knowing that he relies on the rail to open up his game, and shutting that down again makes any player really more one-dimensional. You take away kind of their game plan and you make them play your game, and the last thing anybody on earth wants to do is play rapha's game. As we take a look at the final score there, 15-3 on map number 2. And the items as well, just insane amount of lights, 26-5, let alone the major items.
I mean, imagine if you are so good at controlling those lights, 40, that what it's doing is giving you a whole nother, like, access to a whole nother section of information, because you're like, well, I picked up the heavy and I've just picked up 2 lights and I see this one right here. I know what that means, right? And I think for Rapha, it's just a scary notion. Like, you want to try to deny that information as much as possible, but when Rapha is keeping those lights from you, and we saw Avik do something similar in the, in the last matchup. So that is an enormous amount of lights. Yes.
Just absolutely insane. So we're going to get into map number 3. Is it going to be more insanity from Rapha? Are we going to get just the 3-0 sploosh? Wheat, I'm not sure. Let's take a look at the predictions real quick from the chat.
Be.
And let's get to, I mean, if you're a Maxter fan, you need some Kakaz in the chat. You need to give him some energy. It looks like 8% prediction for Maxter. The Rapha stock is skyrocketing right now. It's always been at an all-time high, Wheat, but no signs of falling. So
yeah. Well, and what is it at then? 8. Okay, 8%. Well, people moving their points on Raw after the last 2 games. I don't know. I would agree. It's looking like a potential 3-0 here. We're gonna see if Maxter can pull something out of that tank. See if he's got something. But I'll give him a good old hearty caw. Try to see what he can do.
We just want the best Quake that we can watch because we're all selfish here. But map number 3 is live underway. Maxter versus Rapha. Last map of the day, chat. So make some noise. Starting off on Maxter. Again, Galena versus Eisen. I don't know if we're going to see kind of the crazy, flashy plays that we're accustomed to seeing Maxter pull off on Vale. And I'm sure that's the way Rapha wants it. A little more measured of a game as we've seen. Playing his game is absolutely deadly, and Maxter has an uphill battle to try and put a map up in this series.
Really does. We're going to see what he's going to be doing here. Immediately met with some LG up that... oh, no. Oh, everything about that 10 seconds, 40 Lion, is just, like, depressing. Went up the jump pad, immediately got hit with the LG, through the teleporter. Rapha kind of comes out, maybe not expecting Maxter to be here. He definitely was. It resulted in the first frag. Rapha picks up another one and has stack control right now. That is a super rough start to this matchup.
Absolutely. Very sad, and he's going to convert on the rail and just keep this damage output high. I mean, the damage output from Rapha is like a Texas weather forecast. High 90s, maybe 120s, I don't know, as Maxter hanging by a thread, and the shotgun is going to make sure that doesn't last much longer. 3-0, a minute 20 in, and this could be just an absolute Rapha showing right now. And I fear for Maxter. Like you said, sad trumpet off the start, and Rapha's just going to keep feasting, I think.
Yeah, 40. I mean, let me ask you, like, we watched a lot of games with Rapha. He's up 1. He played versus Dramas and won 3-0. But, has Rapha improved even from the finals? Like, are we seeing even another evolution? Is it possible there is, like, a Gear 5 here?
I feel like the way that he plays and the way he approaches the game is he's always looking to get better because the competition is getting better. So whether we're seeing that exactly now in increments, sure, I think he's slightly getting better. But one thing that's insane is I think 2 days after he won the title in the stage finals, he was already back on stream dueling practicing. And that is just so incredible to see someone at the top of their game, literally untouchable in terms of he's won 3 consecutive titles, and he's one of the first people back to practicing. That says a lot about Rapha as a player, as a competitor, and I think this might be bad news bears here. As Maxter just struggling to hit damage up close as well. And are we going to see a shutout?
I mean, I don't know, but the way that, again, like, you think about the first 2 minutes of this series on Molten, right? I mean, my blood was pumping. I'm like, oh, damn, like, Maxter is really, like, he's building something here. And, of course, there's that moment where I'm not putting enough respect on Rapha's name, right, because of what he's capable of doing. But look at the momentum that he has carried from map 1 to map 2 and now potentially to map 3. And that is one of the scariest parts of Rapha. You know, I don't know if you call it getting in someone's head. I don't know if it just is called ramping up to perfection. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's, you know, it's obvious in the score lines that we're seeing. It's obvious in the play that we're seeing here. So it's just incredible, 40.
It's a very much a treat to watch. I mean, I know for the opponent, it's never a treat and it's a nightmare. But watching Rapha do what he does and making it look so easy is absolutely mind-blowing. And again, I can't help but think that it is kind of that mentality of, you know what, a lot of people were hyping up maxter, rightfully so. He's coming into his own, he's playing better and better. But Rapha is like, I don't really like that. Don't put me in the same conversation as maxter. And again, I'm putting words in his mouth, but I feel like right now he's kind of sending a message with.
I mean, yeah, like obviously all speculation. And what I would like to think is we've seen so much improvement across the board in NA, in EU. And I think that's going to prompt any player at the caliber of Rapha to say, you know, sleeping on any of these players is the quickest way for me to not win another championship. And so, right, I think it comes from, yeah, a little bit of like I need to show people who's boss again, but also from an enormous amount of respect for the players and the overall improvement that we have been seeing over the course of Season 2.
Completely agree here as Rapha. We're getting closer to the halfway point. He has just dominated this map. One major item for maxter, and that was a heavy. And no signs of stopping. All gas, no brake.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I don't know how high this can go, but 5 minutes in,
5 minutes.
nine frags, and as you say, you know, the whole idea of Rapha making it look easy, and I think that's a true master at any game, right? Whether you're watching sports or esports or whatever it is, right? It brings out all the critics, like, this isn't that hard. Oh, it's hard. It is hard. And we're seeing some of the same, you know, level of decision making here on this map. The other thing that always blows me away on Vale with Rapha is that he seems to have such an intense map awareness that it almost appears as if he too can see the outline that we can see as spectators of the game, right? And that is just wild.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. 9-0. Playing a nice slow measured game. There's the turret for a little bit of insurance here as he wants to get positioning on this mega. Big rocket here, but good rail from maxter. This is an opportunity to get in on potentially another major. As he has been starting to string them together, but he's not finding the damage he needs to get on the board.
It would be disappointing to, you know, as a player and just as, you know, watching this matchup, to not see maxter get in, but on the other hand, like, it is very masterful watching this level of control that we're seeing here. I mean, let's take a quick look at the items for Rapha: 8 heavies, 17 lights, and 8 megas. And over on maxter sites, 4 heavies, 9 lights, and 4 megas. Once again, you can really start to see how much control is dictating this map. I mean, the score obviously speaks for itself, but looking at the item count, it shows us a lot as well.
Yeah. Just, again, double the lights for Rapha, doing a great job of, even if he concedes a major, he's going to make it up with lights. And dropping down with the rail, this is an opportunity for maxter as he's down to 19 HP as Rapha stuck in the Thunderdome, but big rocket retaliation sends maxter packing as well. He does get the mega. Rapha jumps out to the telly to restack in the rail room, and now cornered. This could be maxter's first frag, but he's actually going to try and bounce out of there, and Rapha with the catch in the LG, and maxter can't really fight for this heavy, but a good defensive rail.
All
Make
right.
it 2. Maxter's on the board.
Yeah, I mean, he needed that. Rapha definitely extended himself a little bit there, tried to land that rail, but maxter's like, I got some other plans. Let's see if he can find one off of the spawn, as he is down on the mid-level, trying to hit that lightning gun, but the trade of rails goes Rapha's way, and maxter finds himself at least on the board, but still down by 9.
Yeah, and a little bit of the flick of the wrist there from Rapha, as he's like, I could hit some flashy rails too. Not overly flashy, but that boy still got reflexes as he's up 10-1. Dominating fashion here. 2 minutes left, and maxter, I mean, he's the magic man, but I don't know if he has enough to try and bring this one back, Weed.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing, just to point out, like, the differences, what were the differences between this matchup and, you know, the Garpy Avic matchup in the same way? And Avic did end up winning that one. And right, Rapha is also clearing out totems, not even allowing that to become something that becomes advantageous for Maxter. So another element of the game that he's making sure he's on top of, and Rapha finally brings it back in his favor yet again with another rail. 113 now at this point with 90 seconds left to go, but Rapha clearly takes this. He put his foot down and planted the flag, 40 Lions, and now he is going to have a party, as unfortunately he is kind of dancing on the grave here of his opponent. 13 frags now, an incredible series of Rapha, and that is why the percentage points on predictions were so high.
Yeah, Rapha doing Rapha's things again, and Maxter gets a little bit of a boop, and Rapha just laughs it off. Maxter in good spirits as well, as he has a bit of a smirk, and it's hard to get down on yourself too much. I mean, I know these are competitors. They all want to win. They all want to do their best, especially Maxter, who is on the come up and showing the world why he belongs to be in this league and considered one of the best players on the Americas side. But at the end of the day, you are facing the end boss. We keep calling him that. It's almost cliche at this point, but 3 titles in a row, potentially working on the quad father. Like, you know, playing against Rapha, you're going up against just one of the greatest of all time. So yeah, it's never anything I feel like to get too down on yourself with, but you know, as a competitor, of course they're going to. Maxter's not going to like the result of this at all. He's going to definitely rewatch the VOD and figure out exactly where things went wrong. But from Rapha's perspective, this is another day in the office, and this is kind of where he wants to be moving forward throughout the stage.
And there it is, the final seconds ticking away, and 2-15 is going to be the match score, as Rapha will take this one 3-0 in convincing fashion, coming off of the Stage 2 finals with a pretty phenomenal performance, 40, and now continuing his reign of terror and victory with his second win now of Stage 3. Let's bring Lethal back and see what he thought about it. Hopefully you enjoyed those games. Lethal, welcome back. What'd you think?
Hello. Yeah, weren't too bad, but there wasn't really too much to digest. I just felt like that Max just didn't ooze confidence like he did before. That relentless aggression, we didn't really see it that much even from map 1. But last map was kind of a good example, but Rapha was just on top of literally everything. I think Rapha made a few improvements where I don't really feel like it was just him mainly. It was just Max was making more mistakes than he did before. For example, in the last series in the Stage 2 finals, there's only minor mistakes which Max needed to rectify, like I said before, the ammo management and some of the timings went under pressure, but a lot more added up here in this series.
Oh, 40, you left 40 speechless. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize that you weren't going to keep going, so I was just looking forward to more analysis.
I was going to, but I stopped. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's it from me.
I kind of feel the same where it's like, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, Maxter, this was not peak Maxter. We were used to seeing a much better performance, so it's hard to harp on it too much and say, you know, I don't think this was something where Rapha has gotten so much better since Stage 2 finals that he absolutely thrashed Maxter. I feel like this is more of maybe a slight regression in Maxter's play. And I don't think he was playing the game that he wanted to come out with and play, and that's kind of what led to this. More so than Rapha. Again, Rapha always getting better, always staying on top of his game, but it just feels like more of a Maxter not playing up to his standards that we've grown accustomed to.
Sure. I mean, we saw him flourish in the Stage 2 finals, right? And going into the regular season, right, keeping that type of momentum was still difficult. I still have a lot of faith and respect for Maxter here in Stage 3. You know, again, it is the end boss. It's the final boss. If this is a video game, like, this is supposed to happen so that he can come back and fight through the other bosses to make it through again. So I will continue to, you know, not only root for Maxter, but be keeping a close eye on him, because I would agree with what you said, 40, maybe not the best Maxter we've seen, but now that he's sort of shown what that new ceiling is, I look forward to continuing to see how he plays against the other NA talent. And Rapha, you know, hopefully we'll get a chance to speak to him in a moment. But you know, what can you say? People are just, I'm sure people tune in, they only ever see us casting Rapha, and they're like, dude, they talk about this guy like he's won 3 championships in a row or something. Like, I don't get it. Well, newsflash. Yeah.
I mean, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. We are doing a little bit of a sound check and things of this nature. We will get Rapha in the booth with us to have a quick chat with him. And now, just like that, I just said it, and I think we're ready, Rapha. Congratulations and welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you, and always a pleasure to watch. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good, man. I played very well today. Very happy with my performance. There's not really anything to complain about. So, yeah, just glad I was able to pull out the victory today because, as you guys have alluded to, maxter has been improving by leaps and bounds. I think he'll be up there in the top 5 again at the end of the standings going into playoffs this season. I just think I just played my A+ game today, and he didn't play his A+ game, which that's what he needs to bring to potentially beat me.
Yeah, a question I was going to ask as well. I'm a bit puzzled now because you've literally answered what I was just about to say. I was just about to say, with the difference between like the maxter we saw back at Stage 2 finals and now, is it the relentless aggression and, the fortitude of being a bit more unpredictable because of that kind of helped you this time around? Because he was a little bit quieter in comparison, a little bit more shy with some of the bits and pieces he wanted to do across the board.
I think comparatively to the playoff match that we had, I was hitting a bit more today. It felt a lot smoother, and I was able to kind of implement my game plan the way that I wanted to. And I just made him very uncomfortable in terms of like cycling the map. Like I really tried to suffocate him out and just apply constant pressure so that he has to take a really big risk to try to turn control around. Or just, he has to hit like 4 rails in a row. And thankfully, he didn't really do that. But I think the beginning of Deep Embrace, that's about it. So, thankfully, it all worked out to perfection today.
Rapha, congratulations, buddy. I got to ask about, right, you said you played your A+ game. And one thing that we were kind of mentioning is if you took these 3 games and you made it a 2-hour movie, right, that first sort of little bit of the movie was pretty interesting because we felt like, we were talking about this and chat was kind of saying it too. Love to hear if, what was kind of going through your mind, but we felt like when that first map started off, right, maxter, whether it was spawn or kind of just that initial momentum, but got a couple of frags and kind of got the best of a few situations. It then appeared that you sort of were like, all right, I think I kind of have an idea what maxter's game plan is. I'm gonna turn it up. The difference then between map 2 and 3 as compared to 1 is that it seemed like you never let up. At that point, it's like, I got it. I'm comfortable. We're gonna go. Is this accurate at all? Are you kind of like approaching the initial first couple of minutes of these games in a different way than you were, say, once game 3 started?
Yeah, I think just like for a tournament, it's the same as a match. The farther that I get into the match, the better read that I tend to have on my opponent, and you just get a better feel for the intricacies of like their personality that they put through into their play style. Like certain ways that they like to double back, or they re-peek, or they're focusing on, as you go through the game, the first half, you're like, okay, he's really been trying to focus on controlling mega more so than heavy. So how do I play around that, etc. So it is all about, you have your base game plan based off who you're playing. That's 1. Then 2, what champion matchup is going on. And then as the game evolves, you have to be flexible. You can't just go in with one set plan and just beat your head against the wall. Like if the guy is making good plays, you have to adapt to that, and you have to shift things up. So it's definitely to a T, Wheat. That's exactly what I try to do. I just try to play my opponents as best as I can, from game to game.
Awesome. Thank you for the insight. And congratulations again. Great.
Congrats, mate.
Congrats. I just have a quick one on the way out. I know we're still early days in Stage 3, week 3 in, but Is there a small portion of you that's starting to think about Quad Father? A little bit. Don't you give me these canned answers of, I'm going to take it one set, one map at a time and just do my best. How much of you is like, that would be the sickest thing ever?
I mean, why not? That's the goal, man. every single time. I gotta get there. I gotta get there first. But yeah, I'm definitely going for the 4 for 4. I'm really pushing for it. So it would be a great way for myself, obviously, to end the year, to be able to cap that off. That's it reminds me back in 2018 when Dehang and I were really trying to win all the 2v2 tournaments, And like right now, that's like kind of the momentum and the feel that I have going into this year. And I just need to keep up, proper preparation, the film study, and I just need to, just keep eating better. Eating better really does help out there. So if you're,
I feel like that was a shot at me. I'm a little
No.
offended, but I think whatever works for you, champ. All right, you don't have to bring me down.
I mean,
in
you
front of all
can
these
treat
people.
yourself every now and then, but I mean,
Every day.
Well,
Congrats as always, Rapha, moving forward. I mean,
Congrats,
we're getting
man.
closer and closer. We
Thanks,
might
guys.
have to get you tailored for a suit, the Quadfather, potentially. But for now, we're going to have to
are you
send
making
you
me an
packing.
offer that I can't refuse, 40?
I was hoping that
Definitely.
would come out.
Yes.
Chat,
Yes.
clip that. Always a pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure to watch you. Congratulations, and I'm sure we'll see you again.
All right, see you guys.
Easy.
You have a great weekend.
Later, man.
Congrats.
Take care. Well, boys, again, another cap on a Quake Sunday. A little bit shorter than we'd like, of course, but I'll always say some Quake is better than none. So
Yeah.
what else
Yeah.
is there to say, really? Lethal? I
It
mean, how do
might
you
have
feel
been
about everything?
it might have been short, but it was just as fun.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
chat. Thank you, casters. Thank you, players. It was amazing. Thank you to Avic and Rapha for 2 phenomenal interviews. Just all around good day.
Yeah. Always a
I feel
pleasure.
full.
Yeah, same. Always a pleasure, never a chore. I don't want to. Nowhere else I want to be on a Sunday rather than right here watching Quake or casting it. Either way, absolutely love it nonetheless. And yeah, look forward to see what happens. Future weeks should be good.
I think that's all there is to say. Signing off for everyone here. Thanks to PGL, Bethesda, the players, the chat, and let's just end it on a sploosh.
Sploosh.
Yeah, what he said.
Quickly,
done.
let's get out of here immediately,
Leave now.
please.
Oh, they
my
want a
God.
caw. Caw. All right. It's over.